Please read this disclaimer of liability and endorsement. This event was filmed via Google Meet on January 10th, 2024. Thank you so much to all those that participated. Welcome to the Q&AAZK. Please join me in welcoming the President of the American Association of Zookeepers, Nicole Peppo.
I am Nicole Peppo. I am the current AAZK president on the executive board of directors. I've been in the organization, or a member of the organization, since 2007. I've been on the national national committee since 2017, and I've been on the board of directors since 2018. So it was a very quick transition for me. For my professional work, I work at the Greensboro Science Center in Greensboro, North Carolina, and I am a relief keeper there, and I take care of a wide variety of animals. So Joe is our vice president, so I'm gonna let him introduce himself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Joe Nappy. Like Nicole said, I'm the vice president. This is my first year on the, thank you, Jennifer, on the executive team, since Nicole has been our solid VP for the last 4 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this is my first year on the exec team, so excited to learn new things. Before that, I helped oversee, and now I'm currently a direct report for the connection and the recognition teams. I am a keeper at the Bronx Zoo, working with a variety of different species, and I've been both pretty much any role on my local New York City AAZK team, and I was on the board for 3 years prior to joining this role.
I should have mentioned, because Joe's cooler than I am, that I do other things for AAZK. I'm the direct report for our conservation, education, and regulations teams. And then I also work with our conservation team for conservation partner management. And I'm going to let the rest of the board of directors introduce themselves to you guys.
Hi, everyone. I'm Sarah Snyder-Keys. I am the oversight for the connections teams, which consist of communications, often referred to as COM2, and they have a subcommittee who kind of runs a little independently, but under COM2, and that's the National Zookeeper Week Committee. And then I also am the oversight for the Diversity Committee. So I recently, actually just last week, started a new job at the National Zoo as a keeper. And I have been a member of AAZK since about 2017 and was on the Diversity Committee from 2020 until September, when I stepped into the role of the Connections Oversight on the Board of Directors.
Hi everyone, I am Sarah Berkeley. I'm the other Sarah, and I am the conservation oversight. So I am over the conservation team, Bowling for Rhinos, and then our Trees Free When Me program. All the things. Thanks, Frank. I am currently at Dallas Zoo, and I have been a part of AAZK since 2013, when I attended my first conference down there, and then I've been the conservation oversight since 2020.
Hello, y'all. I am Russell Farr. I am the board member who oversees our education team. So that includes the resource committee, which Lauren is the chair of. Mostly I just try to stay out of her way as she does awesome work for us all. And then I also oversee the IOC, the International Outreach Committee, which does a lot of awesome networking, programming, translations, and capacity building programs for AAZK's Latin American membership. Really privileged to get to work with both of those teams. I have been a member of AAZK since 2010 or 2011, something in there. I've been involved at the chapter level at 2 different chapters in Dallas, and then now at Point Defiance. I currently am a keeper at Point Defiance Zoo and Aquarium up in Tacoma, Washington. We're hosting the conference in a couple of years. Y'all should come by and check us out. And I work with elephant, clouded leopard, and muskox. I've been involved nationally with AAZK since 2019, and I joined the board in 2021.
I guess I'm up next. My name is Erica Deefer. So I oversee our recognition team. So that includes the awards committee and the grants committee, which is actually where I started with National AAZK. So I joined AAZK in 2016 and was a member of both of those committees. I also chaired the awards committee for a bit of time and then joined the board a couple of years ago. And I'm happy that I signed on for another 4 years. Personally, I work at Safari West, which is in Northern California. I'm an assistant manager there, and I also oversee our research and internship program.
And I am Paul Brandenberger. I have been involved with AAZK since I first became a student member in, I think, 2009 or so. Got involved with my chapter starting things out, transitioned to serving on a national committee before joining the board of directors in 2017. Then was the president for 4 years before Nicole took over at the Akron conference a few months ago. I am the current oversight for the Animal Welfare and Safety Committees for AAZK, and I am a keeper at the National Zoo.
So next up is Scott, our new executive director. So Scott, if you want to talk a little bit about yourself.
Sure, absolutely. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm excited to be, I would say, probably the newest member on the team and taking over for Ed Hansen, who retired this year. And Ed and I spent the last 6 months working together so that I could get a good feel for how the organization operates. I've spent about 20 years in nonprofit, leading a variety of different types of organizations. Some are C3, some are C6 organizations, which are chambers of commerce as well as charities. And my husband and our 2 youngest children live in the Phoenix metro area, and we have 2 older children who are off on their own careers, one in Tucson and one in Denver. So, things are busy. Happy to join you in the new year in 2024 and look forward to an amazing year for AAZK.
Scott, I was going to have you introduce your staff or the rest of the AAZK staff.
Absolutely. We have 3 staff members. I would imagine you know all of them because they've been with the organization for quite some time. Bethany is our professional development, director of professional development and conference management. She's on the call tonight. Thanks so much, Bethany, for all of your hard work. And she really fields all of the questions about hosting conferences. She works with the local chapters to host a conference. She oversees all of our professional development and programming and works with our sponsors as well. For those of you who haven't met Shane, he's the editor of the Animal Keepers Forum. I'm sure you've seen it arrive in your mailbox or via email. Fantastic content that is submitted from members and experts throughout the country and throughout the world. And Shane works closely with Elizabeth, who is the graphic designer that manages the magazine layout as well as some of our other publications, both of which have been with the organization for quite some time and have extensive background in the animal field, as well as Bethany. So we have a fantastic team here to serve you, and we look forward to, or at least I look forward to getting to know those of you I haven't already. I suspect you probably know Bethany, Shane, and Elizabeth already, but if there's ever anything that you need, don't hesitate to contact the national office.
First, I wanted to remind everybody that, as Scott just mentioned, there's only 4 paid employees within the entire organization. The rest of us, all on the board of directors, all on the committees and programs, we are all volunteers. And we do have jobs outside of AAZK These are just some fun photos of us doing some of those jobs, and with our families as well. Yeah. So Lauren again was great and asked for these, and she also pulled some off of our Facebook pages, which was pretty sneaky.
Hey, you gave me full rights. Just saying.
We did. Yeah, it's what we get. We are friends with you, and you are able to go through our stuff. This is how the organization is structured. So the executive board of director, that's Joe and I, we are the sort of managers of the executive director as well as the board of directors. We sort of oversee everything. Everything's board directed within the organization. And then under the executive director, Scott has the other 3 paid employees, and the board of directors has the committees and programs. So they're all the oversights for all of the other volunteers within the organization. AAZK has 9 committees and 3 programs. I'm going to let the board sort of talk about their committees and programs while everything's up on the screen. Paul, do you want to start since animal welfare is first?
Sure. Yeah, as I mentioned, I'm oversight of the Animal Welfare Committee. So we've got a group of people that pretty much do exactly what the name would suggest, try to put together resources related to animal welfare topics to share with the membership. Couple of projects being worked on right now. One is some training surveys that were done a while ago, trying to get all of that data kind of compiled and put out in a way so that all of the membership can kind of see what is being trained with different species at different institutions, and kind of have like an aspirational, like, I never thought you could train that with this species. I'm going to try it with, a similar one or the same one, something like that. Another big project coming down the pipeline there is trying to get together kind of a browse compendium, so to speak. So part of it just being, a list of browsable species in different regions of the country, but also possibly looking into some things about, making it easier for keepers to be able to identify those species, what to sort of look for, what to avoid in the case of poisonous species, things on those lines. So just a couple of things to look forward to coming down the pipe from animal welfare.
All right. Why don't you go ahead and do safety too, since you're.
I can do that. Yeah, for the safety committee, the biggest one that should hopefully be coming out very soon is an update to the crisis management resource. It was a topic of discussion. It was a major subject for the panel discussion between AZ and AAZK at this past year's AAZK conference. So one that we know there's some interest in. We've had a resource for a long time, but it was on a CD that you needed to basically backdate your computer's operating system to be able to use. So we're going to have an update to that everyone will actually be able to access. That one should be coming out hopefully very soon, as long as just regular, especially AKF articles, that different things you guys can do to be safer in your day-to-day, as well as various different past articles and conference presentations that the safety committee.
I apologize, Paul. I made this harder on you than it needed to be. Lauren, can you skip to the next couple of slides? Go through the next one. Everybody can see that. These are just the logos. And then here actually talks about all the things that the programs and committees are working on. So let's see, we'll do connections next.
Okay, so COM2 is currently one of the projects they're currently working on is a collaboration with AVMA for a spotlight on animal ambassador keepers and the programs that they're working on. And then they're also working on a spotlight series for swing keepers, for relief keepers, just try and let everyone know what. Sorry, my dog just got up and got in the way. The variety of different roles that they undertake and how they go about their days in the animal care and the different teams that they work with. The National Zookeeper Week Committee, they are working on theming for 2024. They had some feedback last year that some chapters would like the National Zookeeper Week resources a little bit quicker, so they're trying to get that going early this year so that they can get those resources out to chapters a little bit sooner so that you guys can all start planning that with a little bit more lead time. The Diversity Committee is working on a couple updates for the student grants that launched last year, just to kind of make the process a little bit more streamlined, as well as making the application process and letting students know that they have this resource a little bit easier. They're also collaborating with ARC and the safety committees to roll out some additional resources for you guys, as well as some potential upcoming online events. So you'll be seeing all of those rolling out later this year.
All right, we've already talked about safety and welfare. Do we want to go to Erica for awards and grants?
Sure. So for awards, we have a lot of exciting things going on. We have 13 different awards that we currently offer. Some are for individuals and some are specific to chapters. These are all presented at the national conference during the awards ceremony. So if you haven't gone to a conference yet, I highly recommend joining and going to the awards ceremony. It's a lot of fun. If you have gone, you've hopefully joined us to celebrate all of the amazing people out there that do some really cool work. Last year, we introduced the Training Award, which was very exciting. We got a ton of nominations, and it was really interesting to hear all of the training that people are doing with their animals. This year, we are rolling out the Habitat Innovation Award. So we're hoping to see what creative ways people have renovated habitats in either small or big ways. So if you know of any areas at your facility that have improved, whether it's for your collection animals or for native species around you, definitely think about sending in a nomination. And then later in probably February, but we haven't set an exact date yet, the awards committee is going to be putting on a webinar that's going to be focusing on nominations. So how to nominate, what kinds of things you need to think about, what people you might need to talk to get signatures from, and hopefully help people feel more confident in sending in those nominations. It's not as scary as it might look. So join us for that, because we're hoping to encourage more people to nominate and recognize all of their peers. And then for grants, we are working on changing up our grant schedule and have been doing this over the last couple of years. For 2024, we are offering the Professional Development Grant, which is the grant that allows you to go to any professional development opportunity, whether that's going out into the field and doing conservation work or attending a conference that isn't the national conference, because we also have a grant specifically for the AAZK National Conference. So if you're looking to get a little money to help you attend some professional development opportunities, definitely look at our website and apply for those grants, because we would love to support you.
All right. We can move on to conservation. And Sarah, I know that BFR isn't on here, but if there's anything that you want to add about that, feel free.
Yeah. So for our conservation teams, we are still we're always continuously working on how to connect our membership with our conservation partners. So if there are ways that you would like to see that, please reach out to us and let us know. You can email us. But we are going to continue with our conservation conversations, which are Zoom calls with our various conservation partners throughout the year. We hosted about 4 or 5 last year. And I think our hope is to host about 4 more this coming year as well. And then for Trees for You and Me, we are very excited. We're celebrating our 15th year of this program. So a lot of things coming through the pipeline on that one. Hopefully getting a new shirt created for that as well. Yes, we're very excited about this kind of grassroots program that was started. Christy is on here, so we're very excited about that. We don't necessarily have anything new this year. It kind of runs as a well-oiled machine, but that will be kicking off soon. So we'll hopefully have some new things going on with our CRM that you'll hear a little bit more about later. And hopefully we can streamline everything with that.
Beautiful. And then Russell, if you want to talk about ARC and anything that you want to put in about IOC.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't submit things for IOC, but they do a lot of really, really awesome work. The last year and a half, they've been able to get back to doing in-person programs for a lot of the keepers that we have down in Latin America. For those who aren't familiar, AAZK does have a membership category of emerging nations members, a lot of which are memberships that are sponsored by chapters. I know there's about 15 or so chapters that have done sponsorship. So if you're from one of those chapters, thank you. It allows us to do a lot of really awesome work for keepers down in Mexico and Colombia and Argentina and other countries down there. They do really awesome work. So they do in-person capacity building programs, which allows us to share a lot of our knowledge and our resources and make animal keeping not only in the US and Canada, but also all around the globe a whole lot better. They also do translations. They do Zoom programs. We, with the grants committee, continue to administer a Latin American travel grant, which allows a keeper from a Latin American country to come to the AAZK National Conference every single year. They continue just to plug away and do good work. And then for resources, I know there will be a little bit more later on, but there are a lot of resources out there. The resource committee has kind of a broad umbrella of just making AAZK easier to navigate, both for individuals and for chapters, because it is a big kind of daunting thing, and it can be hard to know where everything is. So we're in the process with them of updating chapter handbook. We've added a new member resource center recently on the website, and just having resources for kind of anything you can imagine, whether it's being a chapter officer running a BFR program for the first time, running fundraisers, anything like that. Trying to make resources less static and more dynamic has kind of been the focus that we've been tasked with going forward, and they continue to pump those kind of things out.
All right, so this part I'm going to let Scott take, but this is actually part of one of the questions that we got on the Google form that we put out for everybody to submit, and a completely reasonable question. Everybody's wanting to know how AAZK is doing financially and what we have coming down the pipeline to help improve our stances. So Scott, take it away.
So first off, all of you did an amazing job raising money for the BFR campaign this year. We raised $6,000 over last year. We were at about $325,000 this year that went out to the 3 organizations that we give to, and that really contributes a lot to the enthusiasm and involvement that people have. The organization is absolutely stable financially, and later we will, we'll produce a report that kind of shows where we're at. We're able to pay for all of our bills, all of our staff, and do some extra things along the way. So I think that's a testament to the decisions that past boards and our past CEO had made. The organization also has some financial reserves that have done fairly well in the current market. So I think that provides us with a safety net should there be something drastic that would happen. During COVID, we saw a lot of nonprofit organizations having to move conferences around, cancel things, pay fees to hotels and venues. And while we may be a little bit different, it's nice to know that in the event of a catastrophe, we might have some extra reserves that would allow us to operate for a few years, or at least a couple of years. And but I don't see anything like that happening. We are always looking for ways to reserve or preserve our finances while also not cutting our member services. And so one of the things that we'll talk about is that you heard someone mention that the CRM that will help to increase member connectivity, without really costing us much. And I think it's going to be a neat opportunity for people to, especially at the committee level, and also it'll be a little faster to do some of the transactions that you do when you join to serve in other ways. So I hope that answers the financial questions, but if there are more, I'll be happy to
We did get
continue.
a question. Somebody wanted to know what kind of reserves we have. So talk about the investment accounts.
There's about 350,000 in the investment account that we do not touch, and it just continues to grow. It was the decision, I think, about 10 or 12 years ago to make those investments, and we have left those funds there. They're conservatively invested by an investment firm that looks very carefully to make sure that we're making very modest types of investments to continue our to ensure that we have some reserves in the future.
And like Scott mentioned, there are things that we're trying to roll out for the membership to help improve connectivity, and those things cost money. So there was an increase in membership dues, but we promise we're gonna pay it back to you guys by giving you a bunch of cool things. And then also, well, I'll let Sarah talk about this part. We did make a change to one of our Bowling for Rhinos grants, the Conservation Resource Grant. So Sarah, if you want to explain that.
Yeah, so one of the things that the board we discussed last year was our Conservation Resource Grant. So as many people, if you're not familiar with, 2% of the funds raised from Bowling for Rhinos does go into this grant that we can have various nonprofits that are rhino oriented apply for. We are going to be, I guess, not cutting out this grant entirely. This will be an as needed grant. So this 2% will be kind of funneled back. The 2% will be funneled back into AAZK National instead, and will help offset a lot of the costs for Bowling for Rhinos as well. So just depending on how the organization is doing financially, it's not to say this grant is going away completely. It's just at this time, that's how the funds will be used instead.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. Does anybody have any questions about any more financial things? I think we covered them, the ones that were submitted to us. And at any point, if you want to chime in with a question, we can circle back to that. Okay, there was another financial question. It was about the AKF going from print versus digital. Scott, do you want to talk about that as well?
Sure. We asked everyone to complete our member survey. We had about 240 responses last fall into December, actually. And the feedback was really helpful. One of the questions was about the AKF. We've had these conversations internally, trying to determine what people want in terms of our membership. Do they want to receive a physical copy? Are they okay with getting an email? What is their comfort level with technology? And does that physical copy get passed to other people? We've had a lot of these conversations, and the results actually I thought were very interesting. About 40% said they would like to continue to receive it. About 20% said they would be okay either way, and the balance, that would leave us with about 30% said they would like it electronically. So we're a little bit split. We've had some conversations about the AKF. There is a significant cost to printing and mailing that magazine every month. And it's actually one of our largest expenses, other than maybe staffing throughout the year. And so we've had some conversations about, do we move to a digital model and then we maybe send a quarterly magazine? Do we adjust the content enough that we can produce it a little bit less throughout the year and supplement with the same content but sent out digitally. And I know one of my big concerns is if someone receives it digitally, is it easy to read on a phone versus a computer or a tablet or a or some other device that would be. But we all read things in different places, so I wouldn't want someone to have to go to their computer to read it. That's a really big concern that I think we should be paying attention to. The last item that I'd just like to touch on with regard to the AKF is that right now we produce a series of articles all at one time. So that one of the conversations that we've had internally is, could we continue to produce the content, but you would receive it at different times. So maybe you would receive something every 2 weeks instead of once a month. And would people consume it faster? Right now we don't know how many people read the magazine, we only know how many we send out. But if we are looking at clicks on a website, we have a much better feel for how many people are reading, which articles are the most popular. Could we have a most popular article of the year or the quarter? Are there some other things that we could get from going to a digital format? So we're really listening to your feedback and we appreciate it very much. And we'll really take that into consideration as we make decisions. You can opt out of the printed version. I think the easiest thing right now would be to just send me an email and we'll make the change. In the future, you'll be able to log into the members area and make that change on your own. Happy to make those for you.
So to summarize, we're still trying to figure out the best way to move forward with AKF. We still want to bring everybody that information in some way or form. It's all, we all can agree that it's a valuable resource that AAZK offers. It's just how to get the information to you guys in a way that's not going to cost the organization as much money, and we can put that money that we're saving to other resources to deliver to you guys. But yeah, continue to send us questions if you have more ideas for how you'd like the AKF to come to you, or after hearing this information about financials, you decide that, hey, I would love to have digital. That would be good information to have.
We have a question coming through the chat. What is a CRM? Scott, you want to
customer relationship management system? It's just a back-end system that we can use to help to manage our membership a little bit more effectively. But there will be places where members can log in. You would be able to access, if you're on a committee, you'd be able to access all the committee documents. If you are renewing your membership, you'd be able to quickly renew your membership. You'd be able to join online. You'd be able to purchase products. I saw the question about could someone, if we go digital, could they still receive copies of the AKF? And I think that is also, well, I know that is also something that we've discussed internally. Do we produce a smaller number and only have them on demand? That might be another option as well. But the CRM will allow us to be more effective in working with you. And some of our operations right now have quite a few manual components, and it will streamline some of that for us. But most importantly, I think with things like the job board, I think that our members will be really happy with the new job board and how quickly they'll be able to post a job and see the results that they're getting from it, along with a number of other services for individual members.
Okay. There is actually a slide that talks more about the CRM in just a minute. If we can go ahead and move past that. We can move past that one too. Here's the, oh, wait, just kidding, go back. Please. There we go. So there's the CRM. And again, if you want to kind of highlight some of the things that what is the name of the CRM that we're using again? Correct me. I could not, somebody asked me earlier and I could not remember the name.
The company is called Member 365.
Member 365.
And they specialize in CRMs for organizations like ours. So there is a section where we can set up a full committee dashboard. So all the committees can bring their committee members into that. They can store documents. They can have information stored there, so it's all in one place. And one of the other things that we're doing at the same time is we're transitioning all of our filing systems to everything is digital, but we're transitioning it to be sure that we're all working off of the same platforms. And that, we're kind of moving everybody's cheese around a little bit, to use an old term, trying to get people comfortable with all of us having access to everything and avoiding things like, maybe some committees have their own Google Drive. And we would rather that all of that was stored on the AAZK Google Drive, and then they would have access to it. But the CRM will also provide us with some opportunities to streamline fundraising. So as contributions are coming in for the Bowling for Rhinos campaign, we'll be able to quickly have information. Right now, if there's some more manual steps involved in that process, and we'd like to make that a little faster. It'll be a little bit easier to pay with a credit card. I mentioned the job postings already. We have a lot of job postings. I'd like to see that continue to grow and to make it fast and easy for the people who use it. We have some non-members who use it, which you may or may not know. We have members who can use it, and if you're a member, it's free. This question, we were not necessarily paying for duplicate services, but we did have some technologies maybe that could be updated, and so we're looking at how we do that. The next step after the CRM, which we're not quite ready for yet, it will be a redesign of the website, and you'll see the CRM incorporated into that as well. But for now, you're going to see the CRM incorporated into our current website until we're ready to do that redesign. We're trying to take these steps very carefully to be sure that we're not missing anything and that there's no disruption to our services, and that they don't occur at a time of year when we're maybe really busy, like the chapter recharter that's coming up right now. So if there are any other questions about the CRM, I'd be happy to answer them, but I don't want to take any more time.
You guys can continue to submit questions, and all of our contact information is on the website. So if there's something that comes to mind afterwards, shoot us an email. We've already talked about kind of why we're doing things. Scott, do you have a timeline of when the CRM should be ready to be rolled out for the members?
We're rolling it out in phases. So the job board will be coming online soon. The member features, when it's available this month, you will receive an email that will allow you to access your login account. You'll just need to set up a password. We'll take care of the username. It'll just be your email address. And then you will be able to log in and do things like renew your membership. If you order something, your order will go through there. But all of that will be occurring this month. And then as we move into some of the additional features, like for the committees, we'll probably need to spend a little time doing some training. And we can also hold some sessions for members if people have questions, whether you call the office or we do something on video.
Okay, awesome. And move to the next one. So if there's anything you want to talk about, Warren, with the Member Resource Center?
I'm just going to remind people that to get on it, if you're looking for resources, they're currently here. It'll depend with the new CRM what happens, but if you're, especially with Recharter coming up, all of that stuff is still available with the closing of core, so don't forget. And to get to it, you just log on to the website and go into resources, and there's a big button that says Resource Center.
All right. Okay. All of this is really tiny for me, Lauren.
Sorry. So this is also on the website. It's also in the Resource Center, so you can print a bigger version of it. It's really hard to blow up from here, but to keep it all on there. but there is a general timeline. So if you are wondering when things are due for National AAZK or what's coming up, it's all by quarter. It's done with the logos for the committees and programs. It's done in text. Yeah, so you can see all the things. So check out the bigger version, the Resource Center. Do you want any of these or no?
I cannot read that on my screen either. It's really tiny.
They're just what's there because there were questions about how to get members involved.
Okay. So we did actually, the board reached out to all of our chapters based on regions to ask how we can help. And the resounding thing that we heard was that it was hard to retain members or to get members engaged. I wish we had a simple answer for that for you guys, other than continuing to try and have like member engagement activities. And I know it's hard with morale, and coming back from COVID has hit everybody, to try and spark that excitement again. And there's also morale issues going around. But if it would help us if you have individual problems within your chapters, if you want to reach out to us through email, we can try and set up individual calls with you guys to help you through any of your chapter issues, rather than talking about it on this larger forum. That was my thought. If any of the other board members has anything to add to that.
The resource committee holds virtual networking events that often target things like this. There will be several throughout the year. Pay attention to things like keeper notes and social media. It'll get announced through those. And if there is a topic that you feel like you're struggling with your chapter, like Nicole said, reach out to board members. We're here to help. But you can also reach out to the resource committee if there is something that you would like to get more groupthink going on. We kind of just plan those events based on topics that we think would be good for people to hear, but it's always nice for us to hear what people want to know about. So if there's something that we can plan and help you with, reach out, and maybe we can do a big groupthink virtual event that can maybe help multiple chapters out.
Thanks, Russell.
Yeah, also just kind of adding on, as you've all seen here, every realm of communication that AAZK has connectivity via at least the communication committee, if not any other number of other ones. So if it's one where you're having a hard time navigating the website, finding the emails, the contact info, or anything like that, like any of our forms of social media, like if you have a question there, that will get seen by the communication committee. They will work to try to make sure it gets in the right hands of anybody who can help answer your question. So we have lots of different realms in which you can reach out. So don't be afraid. Like somehow, in some way, Message Communications will get to the person that you're trying to get in touch with. So definitely make use of any and all of them, and we will all work together and do our best to make sure that we provide anything that you guys are asking for.
Absolutely, we want to do what's best for our chapters. We may not be able to solve all of the issues, but we're here to help. We want to listen, and we want to, make AAZK more awesome than it already is. Does anybody have any other questions? Okay, I want to make sure, look back at our Google form really quick, make sure we haven't missed anything big. I feel like we covered. Oh. Okay, Hillary, go for it. If you feel comfortable talking out loud, unless you want to type it in.
Where am I uncomfortable?
This is true.
I may have my numbers incorrect with this question, but it does relate to the reserves, and I think, Scott, you said 360,000 in an investment portfolio. You are muted.
I apologize. I said about 350, I believe, but it changes a little bit month to month.
Okay. For Scott, this won't be something that I think it's possible. In, I believe, 2019, the then AAZK board voted to move, what was it, $250,000 into an investment portfolio? Is this the same one that's had slow growth up to this $350,000 during that period?
I'm not familiar with that decision. The explanation I received from Ed was that it was about 50,000 that was invested about 10 or 12 years ago.
Right, and you had said that it was 50,000. So my question for those members on the board who were present in 2019, what happened to that $250,000 that was moved?
So I'll say, because I was on the board with it, while I don't remember the exact amount, unfortunately, off the top of my head right now, I'd be more than happy to look back through the minutes and find that exact amount and be able to communicate that one. I know one of the big things that occurred was that, we had the amount invested there, we were building up from it, and then, just like in virtually everything, when COVID hit, I do know that our reserve fund took a pretty significant hit as the stock market dipped. So I know it had rebounded, I know it had regrown, I know we were about up to what the level was as of the financial report that we had at the mid-year of last year. Again, I apologize for not having the most up-to-date numbers and knowledge of it, but I do know that there were some losses that were incurred in that investment account that we were looking to rebound from, and we're rebuilding from that. So again, Scott would have the more accurate and be able to look back on some of those financials to get you some more exact information. But that's some stuff I can provide you. It's just sort of how things had evolved and where it was from previous investments that the board had made.
Is it all in the same portfolio or are there diversified accounts?
There's one portfolio.
Is it still managed by the same financial advisement group that it was in when that decision was made?
Well, I assume so, but I don't know that for sure.
Okay.
Hey, Ishmael, you got your hand raised. Go for it.
Hey, I understand if you may not know the answer to this, but I wanted to continue to ask basically along what was going on with those funds. Do we know, I'm guessing since it's being actively managed, do we have any idea of what kind of fees they're charging? Is there a certain percentage that we know of or anything like that?
I'm sorry, I don't have that level of detail for tonight's call.
Okay, thank you.
Just staying on this for a little bit, I'm just surprised that there's not more growth in those accounts, given that a lot of the stock market has rebounded about 15%, some over 20 following the 2020 COVID dip. So to hear that a significant amount of funds were lost but not regained, I just have some questions about what decisions and how conservative are these funds invested, if it's just bonds or are we going a little bit more broad?
And I don't have those answers for you to be able to compare and look at the past. Those are things that we could possibly get. I'm not sure how far into this the board wants to go. I think that might be a conversation that they may want to have. I'm not sure if AAZK has shared this level of detail in the past, but oftentimes the nonprofit organizations I've worked with, we share financials, but we don't necessarily share every little detail about it. There's an element of trust that goes with, knowing that a group of people who care about the organization are trying to make the best decisions they can. So I think the board may want to have a conversation about, how much detail we share, and but I wasn't aware of any funds being transferred at this point, so I would have to rely on others or look back at our transfers that we've had, and I'm sure the company could tell us that.
I understand that. Just at that 2019, when that decision was announced, questions were raised about whether or not there were even enough board members at the time to have a quorum to make a decision to move that amount of money into that account. And given that by definition, board members of AAZK are professional animal care staff and not financial advisors, the move was seen by some to be riskier than what a lower number of board members could at that point responsibly make. So to hear now 5 years after that funds are continuing to not be meeting where we were hoping that they would be, is that something that the board and you as our new CEO would be revisiting?
What sorry, I have curiosity. What level of board members did you think we were at in 2019? Because I don't recall a time where we were low on board members where we weren't able to vote appropriately.
I believe it was after you guys had at least two vacancies and Azara had left.
Yeah, because I came on right as Azara left. I came in to replace her. I'm trying to remember who else came on at that point, but like Scott said, we trusted what Ed was trying to do to make reserves for the organization, and then going into COVID, all organizations suffered a financial hit. These are all questions that we're happy to look into now that, like Scott's been sharing a lot of financial information with us and trying to teach us his ways. So yeah, once we get more information, we'll be happy to share this with you.
Okay.
We hope this was helpful for you guys. Lauren brought up another slide real quick. This is just a reminder of the upcoming annual conference. Is going to be in Omaha this year, and it's going to be real exciting. So please mark your calendars and submit by the deadlines on there for your workshops. If you're gonna, hopefully a lot of you are gonna want to present or are gonna be in attendance to do so. And let us know if you have any questions. So feel free to reach out with anything and we will respond. It's also on the website. You don't have to take pictures of this, but all of this information is on there. And let us know if there's anything we can do to help you guys.
If you guys want to join the Facebook leaders group, please answer the questions or Joy and I can't let you in. So that is our only thing on there. As Joy laughs at me. It's really hard because it is a private group. So if we don't know that you're a member of a chapter or anything like that, rather than stalk your social media, please answer the questions when going in, and we're happy to let you into that as well.
All right. Well, thank you so much, guys. Everybody have a wonderful evening. And again, reach out to us for anything we can help you with. Oh, we've got raised hands.
No, I think wrong buttons. Maybe.
Wrong button? Oh, okay. Thank you. Have a good night. Anybody else have? Did we do that by accident? It wasn't an actual raised hand. All right. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you. Have a great evening.